Well, I wanted to start off, Janine. I saw something that you and John Claude did, I think at the beginning of this week, or maybe the end of last week, because the time's whizzing so past, quick, But you were looking at the whole thing with Ukraine and President Putin and Russia, and you picked up something about it's to do with the financial system, and I got some really great numbers on that the same day. So I saw that, and that's when I messaged. I was like, oh, I want to be able to see what the cards say about it. So and for those that are new, here in Sight Club, what I do is I do simple gematria, or we call it the numbers, which simply is A equals 1, B equals 2, C equals 3. So A is first letter, B second letter, all the way through to Z or Z, 26th letter. So if you do the numbers on President Vladimir Putin, that comes to 278. 278 comes to the currency revaluation. So I wanted to look at that. And if you do the numbers on Donald Trump comes to 138, which comes to revaluation. And I might as well put this in the mix as well. If you do President Xi Jinping, that comes to 222, which comes to 1,000 years of peace. And I've mentioned before about we've been told to follow the twos, and 222 is a big number. We just went through that. So I wanted to specifically look at President Vladimir Putin 278 in regards to the currency revaluation, and Donald Trump 138 revaluation. The word currency, interesting enough, is 107, which comes to the word Trumps, comes to the word quantum, comes to Aquarius. We're going through the age of Aquarius now, and military is 107 as well. So there's lots of things, lots of things with it. So I wanted to look at it. And President Trump famously said about the RV, he said, made a joke about it, but, the people in the truther community were like, he mentioned the RV, and RV comes to comes to the value 40, and 40 comes to US. So it's like the US RV as well, but, it's going to be global. But that's my thinking. I wanted to see what the card said, particularly about President Vladimir Putin and the currency revaluation.
Okay, so how he's connected, or if he is?
Yeah, how's he connected? If he is this whole thing with Ukraine kind of a beginning of the revaluation?
Wow. Well, in a way, so the outcome is a yes. So in the big picture,
yeah.
But before that, there's a stressful situation around, I think that's the party substance. I think it's more about what goes on with the 12 and unders, humans, and horrific things. Yeah, because we've got this in this card. This was above.
Okay.
So I think they're moving in on us, an organized crime situation. Well, that's putting it mildly. Okay, what's been going on under cover and under darkness and underground? What's been going on? And it's that's really what's happening. So I feel like before, what I've been told is before the RV can reset,
yes,
things can happen like that. All of those things have to be stopped.
Okay.
They have to stop a lot of the, that's why they went in Mexico to the cartel. Apparently that got handled. I mean, if you can imagine, obviously the cartel's some kind of arm of the dark cult. It makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense. And that's why the 3-letter of the alphabet, like that C.
Yeah.
With 3 letters. That's why they're very involved with the cartel, frankly.
Yes.
Fund them. They've been known to fund them. Okay, because those guys are all deep staters. Those guys are dark culters, so equals. So it's an arm of it, just like the CCP was an arm of sort of the front of. So they front with these things, but really it's those families and those bankers. We'll just put it that way. Right? That had to get cleaned up. And then yes. So those things have to get done. And I think Putin was trying to speed it up because things were they were being too careful. We got these really careful cards. And I felt like he might have jumped in there sooner than maybe was the plan. Because he, nothing's going to really, all that financial stuff can't reset until that stuff gets shut down.
Okay. So cleaning house effectively before those things in terms of the reset can happen. So yeah. Okay. Thanks.
You want to know something a little ironic? So I had to look up who Elizabeth Hurley, or Liz Hurley, you said, right?
Yeah.
So I did a Hillary series with my George magazines.
Yeah.
And then, so the last one just is airing it probably right now as we speak. And then I'm moving into the 3-letter, what you were talking about earlier, Janine, with the starts with a C.
Yep.
And on the cover of the first magazine that I am going to be doing is none other than.
There she is. Yeah.
Pretty ironic.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Okay, look at how long her arms are and just look at her body shape. I mean, I know women can have shapes like that, but it's a lot more conducive to male. Yeah, it's so interesting. Hey, so all of these women we put on a pedestal, and they did this on purpose just to mess with humanity, are actually males. It's just a riot. And of course, they've been tampered with from birth. So, did you see? I shared it on Telegram and a couple other places. Something just came out in the US where they're going after parents who transgender or encourage it or do it before a certain age, because it's criminal. Think about it. Where would the kid get that idea? Like if they're just little, like Sandra Bullock, who's a guy. Okay. So her kids, she adopts some kids, of course, because, and the child isn't even 3. And she's talking, it wants to be presented as a girl when it's a boy. Okay. Really? Or was it the other way around? I can't remember. I think she adopted a boy, transgendered it into a girl around 3. Okay, does that even make any sense? No. If you've been a parent, no 3-year-old in the universe would be talking stuff like that. Doesn't make any sense. That's the parent's agenda, and it's criminal. It's literally abuse.
Yeah, she's not the only one, too. I know who was with Brad Pitt? Angelina Jolie.
Who's a guy, by the way. Angelina Jolie's a guy.
See, and that messes with females. When I was growing up, you compare your body to these women who are, you can't attain that body type, and then it sticks with you forever. I mean, it really messes with you. You got to get out of that 3D stuff that brings you down. But yeah, Angelina Jolie and Will and Jada Pinkett Smith, their kids are, kind of into that switchy switch. So yeah, it's really prominent, unfortunately. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't know that. So very good. Question for you, Janine, about, I saw you posted this on your Telegram and I saw it earlier. So this reminded me, Pompeo in a boot in Taiwan. Was that recent or was that?
Yeah, I have no idea. I just posted it because it was so wild. I was like, oh my goodness. So I hadn't asked about it or anything.
I thought Pompeo was decent. Can you tell us what you think? What do you get on Pompeo?
I looked at him a couple times a long time ago. And once I got him really good. Mm-hmm. And once I got him iffy. So he could, who knows, he could go back and forth. So let's just have a look at why was that posted recently? And I think it was from JFK's, who they call JFK's posts on Telegram. I think it got shared from there. So, are they ready to reveal something? Did he move over? Is he a plant?
Different. He looks very, very different.
Yeah, he definitely.
A lot of people are talking about how different he looks.
I'm just looking all around the Mike Pompeo story. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he disappointed them at some point. And but he's being held. So that isn't him you're seeing. And they put the boot on that guy, so you'd know. He hurt the team's feelings. In other words, I think they discovered that he'd play in both sides.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Yeah, so he's in holding and they haven't processed him yet, we'll say.
So that might be why he looks different, because perhaps he's being played by
Somebody.
a character, or he looks very thin, just very different.
Yeah.
As a lot of them
all of these excuses for it.
Did you see Kamala Harris's neck during the State of the Union?
No,
I mean, you got Nancy Pelosi doing her little.
Oh yeah, that was so weird.
That did not really look like Nancy Pelosi to me either. She just seemed like somebody's playing her, but they're exaggerating her mannerisms to make it obvious that it's not really her. So I'm curious, what do you get on Nancy Pelosi from here forth?
Michael Jackson. Sorry.
Yeah, there's that too, right? Yeah, the funny
I've heard that
is going on. Yeah, she's in dire straits because she was involved in the party substance. So they're going to not give her any quarter. Okay, she's sitting somewhere in a dark cell is what I'd say.
I'm not mad about that.
Yeah. Yeah, she got rounded up in public. Okay, I wonder if that was, and a lot of people thought it and then talked themselves out of it, maybe. I wonder if that was on, what was it, that day that a lot of people got rounded up after that fake ceremony?
Yeah, well, there was rumors that her computer got taken that day. I wonder if that's true or if that's false, but there was a rumor that during the scuffle that her laptop got taken.
Right.
And that's how they discovered that a lot of it was planned and that she kind of orchestrated a lot of it. So you never know what's true or what's false, but that was definitely making the rounds. Have you read that situation with Pelosi on that specific day that we're talking about? I'm not going to say what day it is, but we all know what day I'm talking about in terms of what her involvement was.
I can't remember. I don't remember. I would have been all over that, but like you just channel things and you just out your mouth, and people would have to tell me what I said because I wouldn't remember. But if just generally speaking, the feeling is she was absolutely involved.
Yeah.
The whole thing was orchestrated, but I honestly have come to think that the good guys were in on the orchestration. So they either let those guys do it to frame a bunch of them, or I think we've got some real tricky going on. I feel like they must have known that was going to happen. They knew the whole thing. And honestly, and this is going to make a bunch of people really mad. So I hope they get over it. And we're going to find out one way or the other. But honestly, I don't buy that those people that got thrown in jail are being treated the way they're saying they are and what's happening. But I could be wrong. But I get it could be all just a play to get you to wake up. Yeah. I hope I'm right.
One of the I don't even know if I can say like the date. One of the people that was being held, or one of the people that had been disciplined for that day, just ended his own life recently. Very, very sad situation. His name was Matt. He was only 37. Very, very bright young man, sounded like. So,
are you sure? Are you sure?
I'm not sure. I do know one person personally that had a niece, I believe, that was there that day. And they have done a lot of the same things that they did to this Matt. They're just bullying them and they're pushing the dates out for the court dates and everything. So they can't just move on with their lives. So I hope that this doesn't keep happening. And I hope I hope it's not real, but it's tough.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know if you guys had heard about that or not. I shared that on my Telegram.
Have a look at the cards, see what the cards
Yeah,
say.
I'm looking. You know, like I said, I get people really mad when I get this, but I don't get he left. So they might have moved him somewhere.
Okay.
I also get he's writing, so he might write a book about the whole experience. So that's interesting. But yeah, it doesn't look like he's not getting he's left cards. Okay. And, you know, right away in Canada, when they rounded up supposedly the leaders of the convoy, within days, they were spreading a rumor that the woman that got rounded up also took her life in prison, if you can imagine, within days, as if she has children. Like, there's no way she's going to do that.
No.
I believe she has children. Anyway, and I did cards on it. What I got was she was hidden with family. I don't know. Like this, the whole thing is so orchestrated that I find it hard to look at stuff like that, because I want to believe they're not hurt. I hope they're not hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I get they're not. I get it's a bunch of theater, but because if you think about it, if it isn't if Mr. T's team is shadow governing, why would they let that happen? If Mr. B doesn't have the keys to the castle, how on earth, what authority does he have to let that happen? I just can't figure, you can't figure that out. Doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
So they might have even been, asked for the good guys' side, fake that is happening. I don't know. It's so convoluted. And think about what happened with George Floyd.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that was all of theater.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if they can pull off that and certain big school shootings, okay, they can do anything.
Yeah,
they can do it, both sides. They can do anything, you guys.
I can't wait for the days that all comes out.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of people that I hope apologize to me for calling me a conspiracy theorist.
Totally.
I'm not counting on it. Okay. We spoke with Juan yesterday, and he said that March was going to be March Madness on steroids. I watched your video on what to expect for March. I'm curious if you see this ending at the end of March, not like completely ending. Obviously, we know it's going to keep going on, but like, do you think that the big changes are going to be maybe finished by the end of March? I was hoping when he said March Madness on steroids that it would be a good steroids. Like we're gonna flesh out the system quickly and end up stronger.
Well, I think what I'm getting anyway, maybe he'd disagree with me, but it looks like the army's stepping out or the military. So that would be mad. Okay, think about it. All of a sudden, if they all stepped out of, so this looks positive to me. But lots of changes, very fast changes. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be like all the sleepers, which I think there's about half the population still asleep anyway. Mm-hmm. Okay, maybe even more, but I think we woke up a lot of people. Okay, so even secretly, I think a lot of people are just on the verge of waking up. So it feels like if that did happen, it would be madness, because people would have to figure this out really fast, or think the whole world just went insane, right? They'll either have to join the conspiracy theorists and feel crazy like we have been, or they're going to actually think they're crazy. The world went crazy and they don't even want to be here. We're going to have madness because things happen so fast. This card goes really fast, but breakthroughs. So the breakthroughs are so fast and furious. So what we've all kind of like the digital soldiers been hoping for, we need those breakthroughs. It's finally coming, it looks like. So that's awesome. Things they've been working on for so long that we've been waiting and waiting for. Okay, all of a sudden happen. Also, financial system recharges, reboots, or something positive in the financial. Even though a whole bunch of really wise people are saying, okay, the crash, we're going into desperate times. I never get that. Okay, but not to say there won't be discomfort.
Mm.
And we're going to have to take time, but it's actually going towards more abundance, not worse. So I'm going to have to say, I'm going to have to disagree with a lot of people I really love and respect, okay, that are worried about, like, we're all just, yeah, we have to desperately clamor to get this, that, and the other. No, I actually, there's another one right up and under ready to go. It's probably working alongside the other one. So it's not that they did that on purpose. That was the one thing they really did well, I thought. And I always got Mr. T was a big part of that. And I'm super appreciative of him. Every time I do the cards, that was a big thing he wanted to have happen for people. He has a big thing about generosity is what I get. Okay, now look at that. This is the outcomes. They're going to see a lot of people rounded up sometime in the next 5 weeks here, it looks like. So justice is coming for a lot of people. Okay, that'll be madness. Can you imagine a bunch of people you thought were good? If you were a normie, okay, you weren't listening. All my family thinks I'm insane. So all of a sudden their hero, my dad's hero, is Fauci. Okay, can you believe it? He thinks Fauci's going to go down in history as this. I tried to tell him, he won't listen. Okay, now if he publicly gets arrested, what do you think's going to happen to my 90-something-year-old dad? Okay, is there going to be madness?
Yeah,
I think that's what he means. I think a lot of stuff comes out in the open fast and furious and freaks everybody out. So it's not going to be comfortable because we'll be putting out everybody's fears all over the place. Because when the world just turns upside down and it's exactly the opposite, and your black sheep of the family was right about everything, that's not going to feel very comfortable for most people. They're not going to like it. They're going to be mad, actually.
Yeah, they are.
I need to go get some more popcorn. That's for sure. Because it is going to be entertaining just to sit back and watch and know that, and to understand what's happening. And then I think it's going to be critical for us to remain, we can't take an attitude of, I told you so. Obviously through this, we need to be like,
Okay, I'm going to have to, I told you so, a few people though, I'll tell you.
There's a couple that I would love to as well. I'm not going to lie. I think
I got a few. I'm going to be
yeah.
Yeah.
I have a question about Biden's pick for the nuclear waste. His name is their name is Sam Brinton, and they're interesting. They are an interesting character. Gosh, I can't even say this correctly. Curious if this, is that true? Is this a real appointment of a job, or is this another attempt at waking people up to the madness of the woke agenda?
Yeah, it's a secret ploy to wake up people. It's like what's really going on is it's not what you see. Okay, that's secrets. And also they're poising to secrets are coming out with that appointment for some reason. I don't know what secrets, but secrets about why they would even have the agenda they have, where they're supporting these weird little tiny little groups of people, almost encouraging them. Okay, yet the main population is being repressed, put down, and okay, like for instance, Canadian Prime Minister announced that, okay, so his new law on protesting allows Indigenous people of Canada, which is awesome. By the way, my family we have lots of Indigenous peoples in my family background, and I'm considered one, actually, a Métis at least. Okay, so Indigenous peoples get to protest or have lots more protesting rights, and so do immigrants in Canada. Everybody else doesn't. So he took away the main populations and he gave it to, not to say Indigenous people shouldn't be treated well, but the history of Canada is they didn't treat them well. So all of a sudden do they think maybe they won't protest? So they're going to give, you know what I mean? Give a nod to them and people that came here recently, immigrants that came recently. Okay, that's who gets to protest stuff, but nobody else. That's just hilarious. Okay, it's obviously a wake up.
Yeah. Yes. It's easy to see when you are awake how absurd these things are. I know in my state, our governor just passed a law that said that you have to be a biological female to participate in female sports. And there are people angry about that. And as a former athlete, female athlete, I think it's absurd that we even entertain the idea of a biological male participating in sports with females. It just doesn't make any sense.
No sense. It's like such overstep and absurdity and taking away any kind of platform. It's like the dark cult doesn't like the feminine. Okay. They know how powerful we are. So they take away the natural ability for their own females to have children. Because you see, if you've naturally birthed a child and it came from a natural loving relationship, you made a baby together, you had a child, you might not be able to do the horrendous things they got to be doing to stay in a non-human or non-soul connected place, to be in those cults. Okay. They invert everything. So everything beautiful, natural, loving, and the protectiveness of a mother, they don't want any of that. They don't want anything natural. And that includes naturally women excelling in things, natural women. Okay. So yeah, they got to take that away from you. They got to take everything away. That's what they tried to do.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's unfortunate. Tom, did you have another question? Tom, we can talk about what Kamala said about Russia and Ukraine, and how when she was describing what was happening, she said, Russia, a larger country, is taking over the Ukraine, a smaller country.
Yeah, do that.
And I think this is setting up a very important awakening for people, because if China does invade Taiwan, and using Kamala Harris's argument that a larger country takes over a smaller country, is the same principle going to apply in that instance? So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because everyone's saying that's going to happen next.
Yes.
So I was wondering why she went with that when she said a larger country is invading a smaller country. And now I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Given what we think is going to happen next.
Yeah. I've got one other character to ask Janine on that, and then ask that. Yeah.
Well, that wasn't really a question. I was just buying time so Janine could go answer the door.
I wonder. Yeah, you won't know this, but there used to be this program here in England called the Pink Windmill Show with Rod Hull and Emu, and there was this whole joke about someone ring on the door, so there's somebody at the door. So anyway, that's just what made me think of it. It made Janine chuckle. I don't know if she knows that show, but it might be a phrase anyway.
I have heard of that show.
Have you? You have heard of that show? Yeah, Rod Hull. I wonder if what happened to Rod Hull. Did he die or did he go into witness protection? Actually, let's ask that one. What happened to Rod Hull? The truth of Rod Hull. Did he die by accident or was there something else to it?
That's a good question. Okay, he's been moved somewhere.
Wow.
And it has something to do with justice or a justice system or, so secret tribunals. But this is in the middle. So I think he's been asked to be involved as a witness.
Okay.
That card's victory. So it's not like he got hauled over somewhere. So they had to hide him, I think.
Yeah.
So that's like witness protection to me.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And
it's fascinating when this all comes out.
I know it's going to be like the stars awaken. And there's another guy that I'm just going to ask you the question and I'll say part of my logic for it. So Paul Daniels was a famous magician here in England and he died a number of years ago. I'm wondering, is he alive or is he witness protection? I think if I'm not mistaken, I think it happened in 2016 when all those famous people died. And I'm wondering if he's still with us.
See, that could have been when they started really the big movie.
Yeah.
2016. You know what I mean? It's like, remember the timeline? So it's like all of this stuff still people forget. It's like, this has been put in place. Okay, the bad guys have been doing stuff for thousands of years, for sure.
Yeah.
The good guys have been working on it for at least 20 years in the background, trying to undo a lot of this, maybe longer.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like Carrie Cassidy talks about knowing about the white hats like 20 years ago.
Right.
Somebody told her all about it. Yeah, so
Right.
that's a long time ago. And she, you know, she really does get a lot of intel from people. She has that kind of energy, and that's her job in the world. You know what I mean? Is people come to her with really precious intel. It's fascinating. So how are we asking it again?
So Paul Daniels, the UK magician, I think he supposedly passed in 2016, or I might be wrong on the year, but I think it was then. But is Paul Daniels still with us?
He looks like he made a deal.
Okay.
He cut a deal because this is in the past, and this could be like changing sides, maybe.
Okay.
Like working as a team with somebody. And because of things he's been involved in or things he knew, and this is justice. Okay, but this is in the middle. So I feel like there's no moon card, so I don't think he actually left the earth plane. So but this card's in the middle, so brought justice. So she's integral, this is justice. So he brought some truth because he knew some really bad things about people.
Okay, that's interesting.
And he got free of the bad club doing it.
Good.
Where he's
So
going
he
to
got out.
This is the near future where this is a freedom. So I don't even think he'll get processed. I think he just bought his way out of there because he wasn't doing anything. He just was witnessing things, it looks like.
Right. That's really cool to know, because the reason I asked that is I thought I saw him in Regent's Park here in London. It's where I saw Jimmy Carr. I've seen a lot of people in that park. The numbers on Regent's Park Regent's is 88, Trump Park. So, you know, the numbers are magical. And I thought I saw him, but it was perfect because, you know, he was wearing a mask, but he was wearing a hat. And I should have run back and just said hello when he got him to drop his mask. But I felt that was Paul Daniels. So it's interesting what you said there. Another person, Rami Malek, is the actor that played the villain in the James Bond film recently, but he also famously played Freddie Mercury in the Queen film that came out, Bohemian Rhapsody, about probably a year or so before we went into 2020. My question is, where's Rami Malek on the board? I think I'm saying his name correctly.
Bad stuff. So Hierophant, when you ask a question like that, when we're referring to cult-like activity, this card comes up. Otherwise, it's not necessarily a bad card. It can be really good, but it's because it's sitting next to this in a question like that, and this could be party substance, and then this card was in the middle. So that badly aspects them. So there was a lot of stress around his involvement, or he felt stressed about knowing that he was involved and knowing people were getting rounded up. That's the feeling I'm getting. So I get he came over and admitted stuff. I feel like he capitulated.
Okay.
Not because he felt bad about it per se. He was worried for his butt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to be clear.
Yeah. Because he's one I saw again in the park, very not far at all from where I saw Paul Daniels and Jimmy Carr just further up. But okay, one other last question about, you mentioned Fast and Furious a little while ago, just in the conversation. So I wanted to ask the question about Paul Walker. So he was the blonde guy in Fast and Furious, and he suddenly died in this car
fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm thinking perhaps is he in witness protection?
Well, he's not passed over.
Okay.
He's hiding out somewhere. He's comfortable though. So I don't think it's necessarily in a cell, like uncomfortable. None of these are uncomfortable cards. Okay. And it looks like, because these two cards were in the reading as well. Remember these two. So it looks like he was aware of maybe other people's or the use of.
Okay.
It stressed him out. So that's interesting. Yeah, because this was in the past. It might have made him sad or stressed him out. I think he was aware of that and got out, took himself out.
Okay.
Came over willingly. So put himself in. I'm sure a lot of them do that. Like come over and say, okay, I got to get out of this. Like, how do I get? That's what it looks like.
Interesting. You said about the word Bing earlier, and that seemed to be a place that people could recognize if they were on the bad side of things and go and get assistance or, consultation. Is there a similar way for people that want to go into the light and get assistance from the Alliance and the White Hats? Is there another kind of cool word or code that people can recognize? Because I've always wondered, well, if they're in that, how do they know where to turn to? Who would they know? How would they know or are they contacted? I'm just wondering how that process works.
I feel like there's planted people working both sides on both sides. So there's good guys on the bad guys side, bad guys on the good guys side, and they're working both. So probably the word goes out how they can do it. Somebody else did it over here, or there's a known underground sort of, just like people know how to get, fake passports and stuff like that. Yeah. So it's not very loud, so they're not very in your face, but you'd know if you were in the industry how to find them.
Okay.
Yeah. So that like there's undercurrent of rumors and stuff that goes around. Also, it looks like they look for people they know are disappointed in it. Or maybe that the cult is disappointed in because they're not really holding up their end of the bargain.
Okay.
So a plant might know that, right? Who's not really, because there's certain things they have to do. Like they have to go to those rituals. They have to do those things to little ones. They have to, you know what I mean? And if somebody's obviously not showing up or not, or bucking the system like that's going to become known.
Interesting. Thank you. Yeah. That was a good question, Tom. I've always wondered that. How do they get help? Because how do you know who to trust in that situation? But that makes sense. I've noticed like a lot of musicians that I thought were part of that club are still out and about. They're still making albums. They're still doing concerts. I'm just curious if you're still out there doing concerts and you're making new music, does that mean that you've passed the test and that you're clean and that you can move on? Because there's some artists that I thought were part of it and they appear to be out. I shouldn't say they are because no one really knows, but like, for instance, Justin Bieber, his symbolism obviously showed he was part of it, but yet he's out there singing Christian music now. So, and I feel like some of his Instagram posts might've been trying to out what they were doing. So I'm just curious, not just Justin Bieber, but all the musicians, but you can start with Justin Bieber, I guess.
Yeah. So they've been told to strategically do things. So they're strategically doing things, and we've got that wheel of fortune. So they've flipped. So Justin Bieber in particular flipped sides quite a while ago. And by the way, he was born a female.
Wow.
Yeah, you can tell actually.
Yeah.
Little baby face, little pretty face. Okay. So, and here we've got in the past, we've got the strength card. So they had to like, it depends on who it was. They had to come on their own, but now they get planted and they're probably working for the good guys. Right. But they're waiting because when everything gets said and done, I feel like they'll know where to find them. They can't hide on the earth plane. They'll find them, round them up if they have to, if they're showing, like, I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I feel like also there's some technology tracking them. Okay, so they're just waiting, you know what I mean? Like if they showed that they were going to continue using and doing the things, using the party substance and doing bad things, I feel like they would have taken them out of circulation. But in the meantime, the normies, if everyone just disappeared, how do you explain
Right.
that? You get what I feel like it's part of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does seem like there's people that are passing away here and there, a lot of stars and musicians that just, and they're just trickling.
It, right?
Yeah.
And did you notice Snoop Dogg just before so I believe he came over to the good side, not because he's a good guy, but because he wanted to save his ass and his family. Okay.
Right.
And have a chance at redemption or whatever. But what did you notice just before the games where he was going to be in the halftime show, a whole bunch of stuff came out about him that they've been holding on to for a really long time. Okay. About him with minors and basically kind of trafficking people. Yeah. So trust me, there's probably indictments against all of those people if they were involved in bad things.
Yeah. Interesting.
Rachel, you last time you asked the question in regards to what kind of who you are, and Janine said when you were young, around age 12, something significant happened. You were saying to me a bit more, and you were going to maybe bring that up today.
Yes, I was. Yeah. So I thought about, that moment that I might have found out things. So I actually went home, told my mom about it, and she's also Catholic like your mom. And it's very hard for her to wrap her mind around things like that. But I was like, that time I had a concussion and I was I was unconscious. I was crying the whole time, saying it hurts repeatedly for a long time. I was like, was I out for like an hour? She's like, no, you were out for 5 or 6 hours. You were out all day. You were not conscious. So I'm curious if that was the moment. And I do remember feeling a little different afterwards, but as a kid, you can't articulate what was different. And now I'm old and I can't remember what I thought was different when I was a kid, but I do remember thinking something was different after the concussion.
So you're thinking the concussion was you actually went somewhere and met?
I'm wondering if that was, if something did change or if that was just got knocked out.
Wow. Okay. It looks like they were doing something during that time. They were adjusting something to the good. It was to the advantage of, so I'm going to go yes with that. And it was to the advantage of healing abilities. So they moved in and made some adjustments to you so you could be a stronger healer in the future. Yeah, because it would affect you in the future. Okay, so and this is interesting. Something about healing children, or something about healing or bringing people back to a childlike innocence or something. I think you have abilities there. Do you do healing work like this lifetime?
Nope, nothing. This is the first. I just told Tom that the transmuting of negative energy, I feel like that resonates with me, but that's the only power that I would ever consider.
That would make sense, because this brings more joy and abundance. You could think of it that way too. So I have a feeling, because this was in the near future, it was outcome of this, right? So it's the outcome. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I feel like what was done will eventually bring forth this. You're probably doing it all along, but maybe not conscious of it. You may consciously do that. So transmuting energy could be like when you go into a room, some people's energy vibration just changes. And or when somebody comes and meets with someone, like when clients used to come in to see me for 35 years, I was working with clients daily. And they would always say they just felt more grounded and like they liked themselves better when I was finished meeting with them, even regardless what I said. And it's hilarious, but they always had that same response. And sometimes they book just to get that hit.
That's so funny.
Not bragging, I'm just saying. Yeah, they would just want grounding. They didn't really have a question. They just wanted to hang out. Very funny. But yeah, you must have that kind of energy or ability. And think about tourmalines. I got a great big one here. Like it's
the black one. I think I have one of those.
Yes. Everybody needs one this big, but I like it. And a really good friend gave it to me as a gift, so I love it. I cherish it. But small pieces of it even can change even a room energetically. And that's why I have tourmaline around where I work or whatever, because it transmutes energy. So your energy could work like a transmute, because you're a healer. And they were making adjustments to you so you could do it better. So they were tuning you up.
Nice.
That's cool, hey?
Yeah.
That is cool. Very cool.
That explains why people come to me with problems that I'm like, why are you telling me this? This doesn't make any sense. And
yeah, you got to own it. Never mind if it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just own it. Just be okay with it, because we're all going to discover our magic. Everybody's magical. Tom discovered his with numbers when he started putting 2 and 2 together and figuring out how numbers work. And it's like it's his magical tool. Mm-hmm. Tarot is my tool. As soon as I was handed a deck, I literally went into a meditation and my whole life changed. From then on, I got obsessed. And everybody's got these different tools. Your tool might be like literally like you're a transmuter, like you said, but that is my door, and somebody's meeting me right now. So I'm going to have to run, you guys.
Okay.
All right, Janine. Well, thank you.
My second time the doorbell rang. Okay.
I'm going to close with just a number you said, get the hit, like the hit. So hit is 37. Gematria hit or a tarot hit. They both come to 111 perfection. So I thought, it's a nice way to close. So your people came to see you for the tarot hit 111 and Gematria hit. So yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, thanks, girls. We'll see you soon, and God bless.
Yeah, you too.
Bless.
Thanks, Janine. Thanks, Rachel. Cheers. Take care. Bye.